Finally! Okay, yes, we've been waiting some time to get our hands on one of these. Our friend Lyd Woodward drove one for us a while back. Our other friend Micah Musio owns one and has been kind enough to say that we can drive it whenever we want. But we've been patient, and now we get a little bit of time to spend with this one here. So, how does it look on the outside? The answer is that it looks great. The modern retro style suits the Bronco well. Even on this Outer Banks model, which is a package we'd never order ourselves, especially sans Sasquatch gear. But as it sits here, it's an eye-catching machine for sure. The 18-inch aluminum wheels with 32-inch tires look great. The headlight and grille treatment is fantastic. And I do like this throwback gun sight touch here up on the nose, up on the hood, though I'd be curious to see a Bronco without these, even though I don't think that's possible. Inside, the Bronco is nicely laid out and comfortable. This being an Outer Banks model, it's fitted with optional leather seats. We ditched that as the cloth is better for something like this anyway. But the screen is nice and big, CarPlay connects quickly and wirelessly, and you can set up your screen to show what you want to see. And this one equipped with the B&O sound system pumps out great tunes. Wait for it. The base engine is a 2.3-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder EcoBoost engine making 300 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque. This one doesn't have that. Instead, we're working with the 2.7-liter twin-turbo EcoBoost V6 that produces 330 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. Those figures are all for trucks drinking the good gas, by the way. And this engine is backed up by a 10-speed automatic. If you want the 7-speed stick, you have to stick with the smaller engine. Either way, though, you've got great power under the hood here. Here's the deal. From behind the wheel, this thing rips. That 2.7 is awesome. I have not driven the 2.3, but it's not that far behind horsepower-wise. This one does get a nice jump torque-wise. The gearbox works well. Ford's been working hard on their 10-speed across the various models. Some issues pop up here and there. In my brief time behind the wheel of this Bronco, I'm happy to report that the 10-speed works well. The brakes work well. The 32-inch tires all work well. The suspension feels good. And I've kind of been flinging this Outer Banks model around more than the average Outer Banks buyer might. You'd think you would reserve that for like a Badlands or something with the full Sasquatch or all that crazy stuff that's out there. But even in this one, you can do all that stuff and have fun. I would love to try a base model with the small engine and see what that's all about. And I would also like to try a full-blown Badlands and see what that one's all about. But I'm happy to report here in the luxury model, everything is good. This lives up to all the hype that I'd hoped. And even out on the road, this drives better on road than a Wrangler. The steering feel is better, more comfortable, more refined than the Wrangler. It just is. But do you hear those loud booms and rattles? Yes, we're off-road, but I gotta say, this hardtop, it's not the greatest. It feels like when someone cracks a window in a car and the air pressure gets all weird. This constantly does that over bumps. It's loud on the road because there's so many seams to deal with on the other side. It's just not a very refined product as far as the hardtop goes. I've even heard from our friend Micah Musio that the soft top is quieter, and I believe him because there's less seams to deal with to make noise. That just makes sense there. But forgetting the hardtop for a minute, everything else about this is pretty damn wonderful. The throttle response at times is a little sharp, almost too responsive, especially when you pop it into sport mode. But that's something you would get used to. You know, you would ease on and off with your foot and figure that one out, how to modulate it properly. But when I first jumped into it and put it in sport, I was like, whoa, we don't need to be that aggressive here. But again, once you get used to it, you're good to go. It's real controllable once you get off-road. I have track control off, I have sport mode on, I just have it in two-wheel drive, and you can have a surprising amount of fun just kind of sliding this thing around a bit. And then you put it into 4 high or 4 low if you need to get nuts, but I put it into mud and ruts mode and it automatically activated the rear locker and you can just climb whatever. We're not doing anything crazy today. We're gonna save that for a future review when we do get our hands on a Sasquatch model to really give that a go. For now though, we're just testing this one and having a bunch of fun. So it's got great crawl figures, strong Dana axles, great off-road performance, good on-road manners, and we haven't even jumped to the Sasquatch package with its 35-inch tires and more aggressive goat modes. But it's certainly not cheap once you start adding in the options, as our tester here is over $52,000. The base price of a two-door Bronco with a soft top and the small motor is $29,995. The four-door starts at $34,695, and prices climb fast. Play around on the configurator and you're very likely to land in the $50,000 range yourself. But that's not crazy, especially when you compare it to the Jeep Wrangler. Prices of those have shot through the roof over the last few years, and the Bronco's merely keeping pace, and it's doing so with better engine choices and better on-road manners, and then the styling is subjective, but this is the new hotness. The only thing that starts to throw a wrench in it is when you add the Defender into the discussion. That has better on-road manners, similar off-road mechanics, and a nicer interior, and if you don't go crazy on the options, it lives in the same price range. But if you try to take the doors off that one, you are going to break it. So if you're looking to buy the best everyday off-roader out there, you have to look at the Ford Bronco. Just get your order in now and maybe you'll get to drive it in a few years.